Hey, what's up everyone? It is Tyiece here. So today I will be sharing some tips on how to transition to natural hair without the big chop. So I still get questions on if I start relaxing my hair, will my hair automatically revert back to natural? And the answer is no. You have to grow out your hair. You have to allow your new growth to come in and then eventually cut away the relaxed hair to allow your hair to go fully natural. So I know that can be like a bit intimidating because not everyone wants to rock really short hair or cut all their hair off. It's not everyone's preference, and that's okay. So I will be talking about some tips on how to actually go about transitioning, how to manage the two textures effectively. I truly believe that a good transition is anywhere from 1 year post and beyond. So yeah, it's up to you on when you would like to cut your hair, or if you would not like to cut your hair at all and just let the relaxed hair break off on its own eventually over time. So the first thing when you decide to go natural, you want to make sure that you are mentally ready to go natural. So you want it to be your own decision, and you want to develop a lot of patience because managing the two textures is a lot of work and it requires a different level of patience. So you also want to have the power in your hands on when you want to cut your hair. Don't let anyone pressure you into immediately cutting off your hair. No matter how your hair looks to them, like how your hair looks while you're transitioning is totally normal. Your hair is going to look thin, it's going to look a mess, it's going to look stringy, it's going to look damaged. That's just how transitioning hair looks. So don't feel pressured to just cut off your hair because people are telling you to cut it. So let's go over actually how to manage the transitioning hair. So with transitioning hair, you want your wash days to be organized, and the goal of your wash days is to have very little tangles and to get through it with as little breakage as possible. So organizing your wash days. When I say organize your wash days, you want your wash day to be on a day where you know you have the time to dedicate to your hair. So if you do not have the time to dedicate to your hair and you know you have a meeting in an hour, you should not be washing your transitioning hair because that is a recipe for disaster. 3 elements to your wash day. So you want to cleanse your hair thoroughly, and when it comes to cleansing your hair, you want to make sure that you're using the right shampoo. So your shampoo should be really rich and moisturizing. Preferably sulfate free is best. So the best shampoos or the best places to look for shampoo while you're transitioning is in the natural hair aisles. Do not use shampoos that is for like other hair types because you want that super rich creamy texture. I noticed a big difference in shampoos for natural hair versus shampoos for Caucasian hair or relaxed hair. There's a big difference. So after you shampoo your hair, you want your hair to feel detangled. It should feel very moisturized and have a lot of slip. So you should look for that in your shampoos. If your shampoo do not feel that way while you're transitioning, if it gives you more tangles or your hair feels extremely hard, then that is not the shampoo you want to stick to on your transitioning journey. So before you shampoo your hair, this is important. Get used to shampooing your hair in the shower and in sections. So you want to section your hair in the way that your hair naturally falls. So, you know, your hair naturally falls down, the sides go down, and the back go down. So I personally shampoo my hair in 3 sections just to limit the amount of tangles I get. Make sure that you are getting used to working with your hair in sections. So after you shampoo your hair, you should always follow up with a rich, thick mask. So as I said, now is the time to start exploring really thicker, heavier products since you're going in that direction of natural hair. So definitely look in like the natural hair aisles. There are so many masks on the market right now. Like, it's the perfect time to transition because everything is just at our aid. So not only should your mask and deep conditioners be really thick, you should also switch over to thicker moisturizers and pay attention to the way your hair feels while you're using these products. If your hair is really dry hours after using these products, or the day after you feel like everything was just in vain, then those are not the product for you. So don't feel afraid to go through trial and error. it takes time to find your perfect products. And once you find your perfect products while you're transitioning, this is not the time to like become a product junkie. Once you find your perfect product or products, definitely stick to them as long as you can. So another tip I have for transitioning to natural is to keep your new growth stretched. So what I mean by that, especially if you have type 4 hair, you want your new growth to be stretched. Do not just let your new growth get really tight and compact, because that is going to cause a lot of breakage. It's going to cause you a lot of misery. It's going to be really hard to do anything to your hair if your hair is not stretched, and you're going to be really frustrated. So you can explore different stretching techniques. You can stretch your hair with a blow dryer on warm air, but be very careful. Don't do it too much. Make sure the blow dryer is on warm or cool air. Do not do it on hot air, because you can risk damaging your hair as you're transitioning. So, you know, be very careful with that. Another way to stretch your new growth is through the African banding method. I think that's what it's called. I haven't tried it, but I plan on trying it soon. And another great way to stretch your hair is to cornrow your hair when it is damp. So as far as manipulating your transitioning hair, so some people opt to use long-term protective styles, which are braids, or you can wear your hair in braids under wigs, or you can wear like single box braids and twists. Some people choose to transition that way. If you have a busier lifestyle and you don't have the patience or the time to transition without those, then I would say go for it, but make sure your hair is well deep conditioned and you nourish your hair in between getting your hair done. But also be careful not to get used to the wigs and the braids that you neglect your hair, or you do not learn your hair. A lot of girls go through that. They transition with these wigs and these weaves, and they don't take the time to learn their natural hair in the process of transitioning. So if you are one who chooses to transition without wigs or long-term protective styles, you want to stretch your hair at night. So do not moisturize and seal your hair on the day of. That was the mistake I used to make, and my hair would like revert and get really kinky. So I would wake up in the morning and then moisturize my hair or spray my hair with water, and my hair gets so kinky I cannot do anything with it. It's just tightly compact. So you want to stretch your hair the night before. So moisturize and seal your hair the night before, and then braid it down to give it a bit of stretch for the next day before you style it. And also choose styles that accommodates your new growth. Don't try to force your new growth into styles that you used to wear when your hair was really straight, when it was relaxed, because that will not work, and it will just force you to like over manipulate your hair and break it and use heat if you try to accommodate the straight ends. So it should be the other way around. Choose style that works for your new growth and let your relaxed hair follow, because they're not going to be hair in a few months anyways. And while you're transitioning, you want to try your best to only comb or manipulate your hair when it is either damp or it is well moisturized. So if you hear any crackling sounds while you're manipulating your hair, or your hair is super tangled, you need to spritz it with some water, or you need to really moisturize and seal your hair before you manipulate it. So that's a tip I have, and like I mentioned earlier, stay away from as much heat as possible. And the final tip I have for transitioning is to do mini chops or big trims every couple months. So while you're transitioning, your relaxed hair is going to naturally break. It's going to naturally become really thin. And when this happens, your hair starts to cling together, and you will notice a lot more breakage when you comb your hair, and that is totally normal. Or usually when you begin to see a lot of breakage, it's time for a big trim. So, you know, don't be shy with the scissors. Mini chops or big trim should be done like every 3 to 6 months to just ease you into the transition, so it's not like a super dramatic chop. So that was my tips on transitioning to natural hair without the big chop. You shouldn't feel pressured to chop off your hair. You don't have to wear your hair short to go natural. transition at your own pace and transition for as long as you want. Don't let anyone tell you when to end your transition or that you're being ridiculous. Like, do what makes you feel best and do what makes you feel comfortable. There's no right or wrong way in going natural, whether you choose big chop or transitioning. So yeah, guys, I just want to thank you all for joining my hair journey. I'm so grateful for this beautiful, big support system of all of you guys who joined me recently since I started transitioning, and the community is just getting so supportive, so beautiful. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope that it was helpful to you all, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye everyone. Happy transitioning.